It is time for the final DLC in the Rise of the Golden Idol, The Curse of the Last Reaper. Let's see what story they want to tell us now. I assumed it was some sort of pirate situation. I mean, this looks like pirate, but this would be a Lemurian ship, so they may steal some artifacts and then cause trouble. Pay heed to the curse of the last Reaper. A horrifying tale for the ages. Okay, we've got some treasure maps and some guy looking distressed. So that's our first case. Last orders. A deadly end and a murderous beginning. Sounds delightful. Well. We've already got this guy here, bleeding all over the place. He's got a key with 2 fish. A pistol is empty. The barrel's still warm. Okay, so he fired it. I'm sorry, son. I'm so sorry. What on earth were you doing traveling with something so dangerous? If I'd have known what was in the crate, I'd never let you keep it in your room. He's got a corkscrew and a washcloth. Okay, so we have years. We have 1797 and 1927. But right now there's still more things to see here. A journal of some sort. If found, please return to Wesley Beckett, barkeep at the Red Herring Inn in Port Armando. Substantial reward available. August 13, 1797. Room 1, Eleanor, do not disturb. Room 2, Elsa, requested healer Joe Life. Room 3, Marlowe Blind, wants to change room. Okay, so this is... we're in some sort of inn and this is their guest list. So he's the innkeeper then. He's like, oh, you know, I wouldn't have let you keep that in your room. So he came from that room. Oh, no, that's outside. Okay. There's this guy here. What is the meaning of this strange sketch that the evil beast dropped as it fled into the waves? A bad omen, perhaps? If so, I fear the boss's prognosis is grim. Okay, so something attacked him and then ran away into the sea. Dear mother. Okay, that's what the beast dropped. A red tincture and dried roots and herbs. Okay, is this some sort of like medical supplies? The Red Herring Inn, rooms available. Okay, so that's what the key was for, the inn room, because it's fish inn. Okay, and I guess that's it to inspect in this timeline. So in 1927, we've got some other people here. The inn is still an inn. Trust me, Liza, yours isn't worth the paper it's drawn on anyway. My research proves that mine is the genuine artifact. Okay, so supposedly a treasure map with coordinates and all that. Coffee, chili peppers, spices, and some sort of thing. Sorry to burst your bubble, Jasper, but that's a fake. I've got the real one right here in my pocket. Wait, where has it gone? Oops, someone stole it. A knife. Okay, so they're like early 20th century explorers. A shame to see that goateed fool leave. I was enjoying watching him drool over his modern forgery. At least Mr. Wiles and Miss Swan are still here to amuse me with their naivety. Okay, is she selling forged maps to anyone who shows up? Yeah, she's also got a map with some different things, different markings. A ring and creatures of the Mesirades. Kitson squirrel. This species of squirrel was discovered by Kitson, who immediately noticed its penchant for conspiring with animals of other species and its distrust of fellow squirrels. Solemn puffer, discovered in 1823, this pufferfish is known to emit toxin that creates blue patches on the skin when it's attacked. It can be identified by the double cross symbol in its back. Scenic chameleon. This lizard's ultimate weapon is its camouflage, which triggers whenever the reptile is tampered with. Tropical elephant. Only found in the Mesirade Islands, this elephant has an incredible memory and a fondness for shellfish. It is known to trample the surrounding fauna when panicking. And there's Port Library note who's borrowed the book. Okay, so I assume she's the most recent person, so Myrtle Song. We've got, on this spot more than 100 years ago, Boston Garner was mauled to death. Okay, so that might be relevant for the events from the past. Oh my god, this picture here, this weird gnome sitting on a chamber pot, that's a picture from the original game. That's one of the obscene pictures from one of the scenarios. So a little throwback to the original idol. The newspaper, Port Armando Times, August 7, 1927. Leg cutters load with lighthouse. Gangsters used the lighthouse at Port Armando to crush ships so that they could rob them. The leg cutters used the ploy to run aground 3 vessels yesterday. The ships were then plundered by the gang's sole female member, known only as Lighthand Loretta. The crime mimicked an infamous heist carried out in 1814 using the St. Osmond Lighthouse on Skull Island, which had been built just a year earlier. Flying high. The 5th annual Airplane Stunt Championships took place yesterday. Keith Chalmers, Lawrence Fryer, and Percy Gregg came 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, respectively. Last year's winner, Eliza Swan, did not take part. No reason has been given. Okay, and a little note. Now it's called the Battered Cod. Received Table 1, Ansel M. Marineers Lightning, cost 3, whatever they call their currency. Okay, what's outside then? Still looking similar in that corner. The Battered Code established 1892. There's a guy in a booth. Hey boss, it's Marsh. Guess what? I've just got hold of the one and only remaining map from Captain Stritton Final Voyage. Positive. It's the real deal. Okay, so everyone's got the fake maps. And this horse smokes. And this horse got a treasure map as well. This one's got sea monsters. Well, this poster, Captains Radigan Olita's pub crawl boat tour of the Mercerate Islands. Highlights include the Rusty Anchor and the Raised Tankard. Okay, just go to all the different drinking holes. Got a boat. Cost me pretty penny this map, but it's gonna pay off big, real big. Yes, he's got map of lighthouses. Okay, something happened to this person. They've got a crowbar, they've got a manhole cover key, they've got some money sticking out of his boot, and they've been mangled to death. More money. Okay, the woman has 1200 inside her boot. That's a bunch, I assume. Miss Bourdais, as agreed, here's the 1200 in advance. Once you are done, meet me back at the entry-exit point in the courtyard in front of the museum. As per your instructions, once you have given me what I've paid for, I will ride off into the night, never for you to hear from me again. Okay, they like right over her, and that's why she looks like this. Yeah, she's not breathing. And this is the path where they're supposed to meet or something. What are you barking at? What have you seen? Oh, heaven have mercy. Edward, I'll raise my bid 1200. This is my final offer. Okay, there's some bid. He's got a skull necklace. My noble son, I leave to you this necklace, which belonged to my father, Abacus, 1752-1815. May you hand it down to your own children one day, your loving father. Okay, this skull necklace, the guy in the past that was outside of the pub was wearing it. So that might be how we get the names for that. And he's got keys. Okay, it looks like there will be lots of getting information from the past and the present to figure out who is linked to who. There's the manhole cover and a cigarette near it. Museum with some cryptids. Someone has stolen Old Woman by Unknown Artist, date 1790, donated by A. Jolife. Okay, so that's the healer from the past, and that might be, the picture might be that my mother picture, so there might be the actual real treasure map hidden in that picture. Flintlock pistols, 1790s, once owned by one of the pirates from Captain Stritton's infamous crew, who went missing along with their ship, the Last Reaper, after looting a Lemurian vessel. There is this bear thing and this skeleton. This specimen was discovered on a nearby beach after the tsunami of 1905, washed away one of the Mercerate Islands. Are you sure it was found, or did the person got merged with some other creature's bones? Who knows? And the doors to the museum are locked. Well, I assume the manhole may have something to do with that, like they used it to somehow access the museum. That is all of the things in both the scenes. And so we need to figure out what's going on. Of course, we've got names for everyone. And we've got the maps. What proves each map is not the original from 1797? Okay. For the one true original, use this. Okay, so we move the tick and mark the real map. Okay. Well, I guess names first. Those two were using names when talking to each other, right? So, sorry to burst your bubble, Jasper. So, this guy with the blue cap is Jasper, and he says, trust me, Eliza. So, she is Eliza. And then this woman says, at least Mr. Wiles and Miss Swan are still here to amuse me, right? So she is watching them, and that's their surnames. So Mr. Wiles and Mrs. Swan. Now, based on this book and the library card, it would follow that her name has to be Myrtle Song if she's got this book now, unless she took it from someone. But we'll see. Myrtle Song. So she says that the goateed fool left, and there is a receipt on this table saying it was Ansel M. So whoever the goateed person is, their name is Ansel. That might be here then. Oh yeah, Abos it's Marsh, so he is Ansel Marsh then. So that's him. We have the person that's been mangled. We have this guy who's descendant from the guy from the past. So Bosun Garner was mauled to death, which means this guy here, that's Bosun Garner. So Garner for him. We'll have to find the first name. And this is the innkeeper, so his name is Wesley Beckett. Now this guy here, he's wearing this necklace, and he's also this picture of dear mother, which is, I now assume that's what was stolen from the museum. So if we go to the future, this guy has a note that says Edward, so his name is Edward. But then in that necklace, he has one that says, it belonged to my father in those years that would cover the previous events, so his name was Abacus. So that's the name for this guy. And I think he was the healer, right? Because he has like some tinctures, some roots and herbs, right? So that would make sense that he's the healer. So then the name was Joliffe for the healer, and then there's E. Joliffe. So if his name is Edward Joliffe, then and he runs this museum, that would make sense that this is their surname. Okay, so this is the names we still have left. Now, some of the names... Okay, so the Loretta was the name that came from this. I was wondering if it added those names of the various people, but no. Loretta came from here. So she is a plunderer. So there's a potential that she's the woman that's mangled in the street because she was doing some plundering of the museum instead. Oh, but we got all of those names from the library card. Oh, and then we also got names from this journal, right? So room 2 was Elazar, who is the person here because he's got the key to room 2. So his first name is Elazar, and then Garner from the other poster in the future. Okay, so that leaves us with the fisherman from the future and the woman that's lying in the street. Okay, there's nothing on him that's identifying, so we'll need to look around. Captain Radigan's Olita pub crawl, and the kind of that picture looks like him, right? The hat, the face shape, the pipe, right? So that might be him. So his name is Radigan Olita. So it just leaves us with this woman. Okay, so she's Miss Borday. That's her surname. And then I think she might be Loretta because of the whole plundering situation. Yes, okay. That's all done then. All the names are covered. So what's up with the maps? Like the thing I think that was stolen from here is the picture of the mother from the past, right, that he's holding. And somehow I get the feeling it's somehow related to the maps. I don't know how. It's just like, why would someone want to steal it? But maybe not. Maybe I'm just like reaching way too far into some random thought I had. I just think that's the picture that was stolen. And therefore, why? What's important about it? Okay, let's see who has the maps, right? Because like she doesn't actually have the map. Like it's gone. Someone took it from her. He has a map. Of course, everyone thinks theirs real. She has a map, and she's got the pufferfish on it that supposed to be from the area. Oh, but if the pufferfish was discovered in 1823, that's too late for it to be a map from the 1700s, right? So her map is fake because of the pufferfish. Okay, well, that's one of them done. Then he has a map with all the lighthouses. I think there was something about construction of the lighthouses. Yeah, so the St. Osmond's Lighthouse on Skull Island has been built in 1813, which means also would have not existed when the original maps were drawn. And I assume this is Skull Island because like it looks like a skull, and of course they would call it that. So this one is fake because the lighthouse on Skull Island was not built in 1797. Then we have sea monsters, food items, right? Like, is there something about coffee or something else not existing at the time? And then various, or like establishments, maybe, because this is the battered cord, right? Established 1892. So if this map is using places like businesses or points of interest as reference, because it's the maps of the same area, right? They have Skull Island here, Skull Island here, Skull Island here, Skull Island here. This one does not have Skull Island for some reason. So if this is this area, this coast, then using the battered cord would be incorrect because it did not exist. And he talks about the rusty anchor and the raised tankard as his favorite pubs. So that could potentially be the tankard and the anchor here, the other two pubs. So the cod is the giveaway here. The sea monsters, the reference we have to monsters is this thing in the museum that says it was discovered on a nearby beach after the tsunami of 1905. I guess there could be something about what's on the maps, because they're all maps of the same area, more or less, right? They are all from here. It's just they have maybe different zoom levels or offsets, because this is the coast where potentially we are with this cod establishment. And then we have the layout, like Skull Island is directly north, right? And stuff like that. So it's basically one of those maps just wrong about the layout of the place. So above this kind of stick out area of the coast, we have this island, right? So you can see it here, and here is just a little fragment of it. And then on the other side above this part of it, we have this other kind of shape island. So this one with the two lighthouses here, this one here on this map, and that's this one here. And then in between is Skull Island, right? So that's here, and here it's a very zoomed in like area of this island here and the Skull Island on this one, so we can't see this coastline. And so that means this map is wrong because Skull Island is missing, right? It's not at all on this map, and therefore that makes it the true map. So it does. I've managed to logic it out. Okay, so what are the events? In 1797, a thing verbed someone, who in turn verbed the something. Afterwards, someone verbed a something. I think this is about the guy who's being injured by the beast, right? Because we have beast. A beast mauled Elzar Garner, who in turn shot the beast, right? Because his pistol has been discharged and the beast is also bleeding, dragging blood all along. He shot the beast. Afterwards, something outside. So the person outside is this guy whose name is Abacus Jollyfay. Abacus Jollyfay. He found a sketch outside, but we don't have a word for sketch. We have a word for map. So like, are we saying this picture is some sort of map? I guess it's a map. I'm not sure. If it's wrong, then that's gonna be my first part of why is this wrong? What was I supposed to put in there? Okay, so now in 1927, someone hired this woman, right, to steal that picture from the museum. So in 1927, someone hired Loretta Bordley. To steal the map from Edward Jolife's museum. Because, I mean, that would make sense, therefore, that it's the map, because then it's consistent for both those occurrences, and then why would they want it? That means the person who hired her to do this must be this guy, right? Because if he has the true map, then that's how he would know he has the true map, right? And so it was Jasper Wiles hired Loretta Brodley. And then yes, what happened to her, right? Because obviously something went wrong. Like, did someone just trample her with a horse? Like, this horse is wet, dripping wet. And it has cigarettes, and there's cigarettes next to this thing, right? However, what? Did she try to run away with the map? Loretta Bordey tried to flee with the map, so that Jasper Wiles, he's something here. With a something. He trampled her. Someone didn't put his surname. He trampled her with a horse. There we go. So they're all looking for treasure. And I'm sure they're going to regret finding the treasure later on, because that's how it always goes. Loretta was supposed to exit the sewers via the manhole cover outside the front of the museum. Instead, she left through the one behind the museum in an attempt to escape with the map. But Jasper spotted her, chased her on horseback, and trampled her to death. Afterwards, he washed the blood from his horse's legs in the alley. Oh, that makes sense. Because I was like, it looks very bloody around that one throat, but there was, like, you couldn't really click on it, so I wasn't quite sure. Jasper, Eliza, allow me to introduce you to the rest of the team. You already know Miss Song, our scientific advisor. What branch of science do you specialize in? Animal physiology. Tally-ho! That's Ivan Kearns, our driver and explorer extraordinaire. I'm sure you've heard of him. Ready to set sail, sir. And last but not least, our trusty captain. Okay, so they're now all together going on a expedition to find this treasure. And they're all gonna die. Maybe not. Maybe some of them will survive. Okay, we've got a piece of paper. Oh, is it the Seven Seas Company again? Yes. Esteemed gentlemen, on the 27th of February, a Lemurian vessel was unlawfully attacked and her cargo pillaged. This incident has enraged the Lemurians even more than such acts typically warrant. Accordingly, I hereby issue the following strict orders. All vessels entering our harbors or encountered upon the high seas by our naval forces shall be thoroughly searched for Lemurian relics. Any such articles discovered are to be seized forthwith. Any persons found in possession of such articles are to be apprehended and, following a proper and lawful tribunal, hanged for piracy as befits their crime. This order shall remain in place for 2 years. Sincerely used, Nicholas Maker, yes, president of the Seven Seas Company. All various old idle things making a comeback. Okay, now we've got this pirate with a hook for a hand, waving wildly. Broadside Betrayal. Mutiny aboard the Last Reaper. Okay, so now we're going back to the original pirates that have disappeared, I assume after looting some artifacts that they were not supposed to have. We've got this guy with an axe. Then prepare to lose your life, just as you and your followers lost the vote. As a callus and an axe, yes. And he's foaming at the mouth, and he's got a peg leg. A piece of paper to all hands aboard the Last Reaper. With the untimely passing of Captain Triton, the fate of the ship now lies in the hands of the crew. As per the Pirate Code, the new leadership shall be decided by vote. The following terms are hereby set forth. The vote shall take place on the deck at high noon. Each crew member shall cast one vote, with the exception of the powder monkey, whose rank does not grant them such privilege, and the candidates themselves. The tally shall follow below once all the votes are counted. And there is a bullet lodged in the mast through the flyer. So we have Alistair Sims and William Nunda. Okay, so Alistair wins, in theory. We have this guy. Yeah, he's bleeding out. He's got a dagger, a callus, the callus inspection. Swift, still using callus made of cheap low-grade metal. Replaced soon. Lane, Nanda, and Valerius callus blunt, sharpened soon. Okay. So he's somehow in charge of weapons, bladed articles. Quick now, we're wanted in the captain's quarters. He's got a dagger and a flintlock pistol. Doesn't say whether it's been discharged or not. You ain't going nowhere unless you go through me first. And another callus. We've got a hole. Okay, someone's here hiding. I ain't cut out for this. I took meat, not men. I don't want to die down here all alone. Ma, please watch over me. Okay, he's just a cleaver and he's just a cook. Got a pile of cannonballs and got this guy. You may outnumber us, but we're twice the sailors you will ever be. Surrender now and I might let you keep breeding. Okay. Cookery and a callus. And he's got a gold tooth. And he's going up a ladder or down the ladder. I'm not sure. But yes, the vote was almost split in half, so obviously there is a bunch of people that are unhappy. There's people escaping from the vote. Okay, so that's the guy that died later by the beast. Sorry lad, there's only room for me and my boy. It's every man for himself now. He's got a harpoon, a callus, and he's got the actual map on him. He also has a wooden nose. I didn't notice it in the previous one. And we have this guy, the boy's comatose. Okay, so that's why he didn't want a doctor when he arrived. Have you lost your wits? We're on the same bloody side. Pull me aboard. And he's also got a callus. Okay, so that's all on this view. We have captain's quarters. They're shooting. You're no captain. You couldn't find gold in the gunner's gob. Okay, I assume that's the gunner with the gold tooth. That's the clue. She got a pistol, a dagger, a cutlass. Yeah, they all armed in all possible ways. Take this, you filthy rat. To do. Garner's nose, horns. Like, okay, so he's doing carpentry stuff. Flintlock pistol, because like they have wooden body parts. And he's here. Ahoy, men! Get your backs in here now. We're a mutiny on our hands. Okay, he's got a pistol, callus, a pocket watch, and he's got vampire teeth. He's a pirate vampire. Okay, so that's in the past. But we also got 1927, which for, I guess, the purpose of this DLC, it's the present. So they're here now. They found this ship and they're exploring it. Okay, so that's the guy that was possibly trying to climb on the boat and he got harpooned. Then it's the mast, it's been toppled. The bodies all over the deck. What's going on down there, Ivan? Yeah, that's the woman with the ring and the books about creatures. Yeah, Myrtle song. Or you don't even have to name people now, it's just the roles of the people. Okay. He's looking down there. Oh yeah, there's a guy with the cleaver in the head and the gold tooth. He dropped his pipe, right? Because that's fresh. You're right down there. Okay, so there's supposed to be an extra person that he's calling out to. There's cannon, okay, because there's a blood, like, looks fresh also. So they've been dragged into the sea. Shiny gem, and a net, and some other skeletons. So yeah, someone's been taken by the sea monster. God. Yeah, we've got skeletons. Oh, we're gonna have to match up all of the skeletons to who they were and who's done them in. Okay, this is gonna take a while. We're gonna need a murder board. This ship is falling apart. Let's leave. Tell the old geezer to forget whatever junk he saw that drew him down there. Expedition contract. The spoils of this exhibition shall be split among the 6 party members as follows. Antoine Spilsbury, sponsor, 35%. Jasper Wiles, 15. Eliza Swan, 15. Ivan Kearns, 15. Radigan, Olita, 10. Myrtle Song, 10. Okay. He's also got a ring, an engraved cigar case. Okay, he's the fancy man with the money. And in here, we've got them inspecting more skeletons. Very interesting, Jasper. Good work. And look here, I found the ship's log. And it contains the name of that bosun we saw mentioned in the battered cod. Yeah, we already knew his name, right? Oh yes, this is everyone's roles for the ship. So yeah, it tells us what people do. Big Obertin vibes, you know. Who's who on the ship? You need a glossary, because how would you know? So before the mutiny started, both Captain Triton and the quartermaster Cyril Amiot, they passed away in some way, right? So they crossed out, which means they will not be part of the rolls and skeletons. Or they might be skeletons, but unclear. And then there were 2 seamen that were also dead by the time like the mutiny happened, right? Someone would have already crossed them out. There's another one here, Walter Keane. Walter Keane, Scrivener, keeps record, and he was crossed out. I do wonder if it's the same Walter Keane that we knew about in the original game. And Ada Baker, surgeon, also gone. Also a name I seem to recall from the other game. Interesting, yes. Does it mean they die, or does it mean they have just left the ship for whatever reason? Because like if Walter Keane, the person that keeps records, leave the ship, then that would mean, you know, that's when they stopped updating this log, potentially. But yes, this is going to be an interesting one because there is a lot happening here. Well, he said he chops meat and stuff, so I assume he's the cook. And then she was saying you couldn't find gold in the gunner's gob, right? And there was this guy here with a gold tooth out front, so is he the gunner then? Then the guy on the board with the fake nose, he is the one that makes it to the inn later on. So he is the bosun. Because it also mentions him here, like, oh, I found the name of that bosun we saw mentioned, right? He was later mauled. Okay, but now we need to figure out the rest of them. So this guy on the ground, he's doing cutlass inspections. So who would be doing cutlass inspections? Master at arms responsible for weapons. So I'm not sure we need to know their name, but Ezekiel Parker is the guy lying on the deck. He's the master at arms. Then we have this guy here. His to-do list was to do with like the wooden body parts. So do we have someone whose job would that be? Yes, the carpenter. Repairs solid other woodworking, right? Which could include wooden body parts, if you ask me. So hey, with the golden earring, here is the carpenter. Now, we get a bunch of information from the Master at Arms about people's name based on the catalyst, which means then we can get back to what the roles is, right? So someone called Swift using catalyst made of cheap low-grade metal. And I think this guy here, like, this catalyst is looking a bit worse than others. Like, he has a nice and sharp catalyst, and he's, like, looks very dull. His one's sharp. He doesn't have one. Okay, this guy's catalyst also looks a bit terrible. Some of them, they're blunt. And one of them is cheap low-grade metal. Actually, there are 3 of those poor-looking catalysts, right? One's the gunner's, one's this guy, and one is this guy. So, Helene and Valeria's catalysts are blunt. So if we go to the names, the gunner Valerio, right? So that's another name, which means the catalyst looking like that is the blunt catalyst. I don't know where's the poor catalyst, which means the 2 other people with the blunt catalysts, their name will be Nain and Nanda, and therefore their roles will be navigator and the second mate. I'm like, I wish there was a way to like pin this book to somewhere so I don't have to keep coming back and forth to it, but screenshots work too. What else can we figure out? Like, this guy is climbing down on the nets that like people who do rigging would use to climb up through the sails and stuff like that. I think, again, I don't really know about ships. I am literally like using my knowledge from playing The Return of the Obra Dinn, being like, that's what was happening in that game. Take it with a pinch of salt that I actually understand how a ship is run. So if he's climbing on the rigging, his title could be rigger. Oh, but there's also a sailmaker. Okay, so the sailmaker maintains and repairs sails, but I'm not sure how would you distinguish it. I guess the leg. The leg will tell us something, right? Because Horn's leg needs to be fixed. And Horn is the helmsman. So that guy, frothing at the mouth, is the helmsman. So we still have the first mate, second mate, powder monkey, navigator, and sailmaker. Those two, they are the two people with the blunt cutlasses. So between the two, one of them is the navigator and one of them is the second mate. I just don't know how to tell which is which yet. Then who is she? Like, she's covered in dirt for some reason. I was like, you know, maybe all the pirates are dirty, but no, she's specifically covered in a bunch of dirt. So that might be a clue of some sort. Okay, so the voting was between the first and the second mate, right? Who was going to become captain. Now, because that guy is here in the captain's quarters, like, defending his positions, I can only assume that he's going to be Alistair Sims, right? He won, but then the Nunda people are who are doing the mutiny. So it says, prepare to lose your life, just as you and your followers lost the vote. So the guy that lost, William Nunda, is out here. So that's him, probably. And that would align with the Cutlass being blunt. So this guy here is Nunda, which makes him the second mate. Which means this guy, who is currently captain but not for long, is the first mate. So then the remaining person with the blunt cutlass is the navigator, so that's him there. Well, since she's so dirty, she's gonna be the powder monkey, and therefore this guy that's almost comatose is the sailmaker. Two or fewer incorrect, so just two people are swapped. I mean, I could just say it's those two, but I'm like, it feels like it kind of fits that she's the powder monkey, she's dirty, and he's like wrapped in a piece of sail. No, it's not. It's something more furry, but don't know. For me and my boy, are they related? I didn't check that actually. Like, because I've taken boy as like, you know, he's my mate, right? But maybe there's a bosun's mate. Because there's Eleazar Garner. Oh yes, there is Stefan Garner, powder monkey. Okay, so he is the powder monkey. I was wrong. So he's the powder monkey and she's the sailmaker. Okay, I've made an assumption based on what shoes look like, but yes. It was all in the book all along. Okay, so that's done. But we still have this whole situation about who killed who and with what. Okay, so there's the guy at the bottom of the sea with the harpoon, which I think is the direct relation to the bosun kills this guy with this harpoon, right? That's the easy one. So this is the navigator killed by the bosun with the harpoon. Simple. This one with the gold tooth is the gunner. This is the first mate, right? Because that's the guy that shot in the captain's quarters that was behind the table. Gonna be easier to also tell which skeletons are where, right? Because this one has the guy with the dagger in the eye, and then a person with a ring. Like, it must be hair, right? Because we can't see her other hand here, but like there's a ring near this guy. Although there is multiple people here, so someone has joined, right? Because there's only two of them in this scene attacking, but he's calling for help, right? He gets... One of the other guy comes to help that was saying we're wanted in the captain's quarters. Oh, because those two people, right? So he's got the axe, so he might be now... He's who came here because he axed someone. Does he have a ring then? Don't see one. Oh, but he does. He here has a silver ring on his hand. So he's this corpse. Okay, so this is the guy with the earring, the carpenter. This is the guy with the ring, who is the rigger on the floor. And so this must be the woman. She's got like a cutlass and a pistol on her, which is what she had. And makes sense that she would be killed by the guy with the axe. So that's the sailmaker. Okay, where are those other skeletons then? They're here on the ground. So this is probably the guy that just died there, right? The Master of Arms, because that's his position at death. I'll assume like they just all died in that battle against each other. We have this guy with some sort of necklace, but I don't see that on anyone here. Where's the guy with the leg? Kinda hard to inspect some of those skeletons. Okay, so here's the guy with the peg leg on the stairs with a dagger sticking out of him. So that's him. So he's the helmsman. This skeleton here is this one on the ground, and this one with the split head. This one with, okay, that's the gunner. Where is this? Okay, that's over here. We can't inspect it any closer, so we could only tell that the other guy was standing here. That might be him, but obviously they could have moved as they were fighting. Because yeah, where's the cook's body then? Is it just the cook's arm down here? That's all that's left of him? Was the cook wearing a necklace? Yes, he was. Okay, so this is the cook lying here in the middle, and therefore this final skeleton is the second mate where he was standing in the original scene. Okay, so the first mate has been shot with a pistol by one of those people here. Are we supposed to judge trajectory? Because I would say this guy has completely missed, right? Like this is gonna go past him, and therefore she got the shot on him. So he was killed by the sailmaker. If I get anything wrong here, it's gonna be so hard to untangle what's wrong because there's just so many possibilities. The sailmaker was killed by the guy with an axe, which is this guy, the helmsman. And he had an axe, right? Because I assume that's her here. And he has that axe out here. He's the only one with an axe. The gunner gets killed by the cook using the cleaver. I mean, the second mate also looks like he took an axe to the head, right? Because he just very similarly, but the axe has been removed, so... Also killed by an axe by the helmsman. The helmsman is dead from a dagger, so we can tell that. The cook, he doesn't have any outward wounds or anything like that, although his arm is underneath. However, he's lying on top of a grate, so it could have easily been that as he decomposed, the arm just fell through, and that's why it's down there. It wasn't like chopped off. Okay, so the master at arms, he's already dying here. It seems he's been stabbed, so I assume this guy stabs him with the dagger. Right, the way he's positioned, he was standing here, gets stabbed by the rigger and drops down. So he's been hit by the dagger by the rigger. So the carpenter dies from a dagger, right? Because that's what's on his body, like in the eye. And the rigger is here. Is that a catalyst in him? Someone got him with the catalyst. And here she got the catalyst, but he does not. So, but so does he. But if she shoots him, like, this is the moment he's about to die in like 2 seconds, right? So by the time they run in, he's gonna be already dead. So he's out of the equation for the further combat. So does she get the rigger with the catalyst? Like he runs in, she cuts him, then the other guy comes in and gets her with an axe. So the rigger was done in by the catalyst from the sailmaker. And therefore did he get the carpenter with the dagger as well? That would be it. Like he comes in, they have shot the new captain, he manages to stab the carpenter, but then the sailmaker manages to stab the rigger, then the navigator comes in with an axe and kills Hare. So navigator is the person that potentially makes it out alive from this room because he's then back up here on the stairs with a dagger in him. By that point, the second mate is already dead. The master at arms is already dead. Everyone down in captain's quarters is dead, plus the rigger. Those people have escaped, he's down. So yes, by the time the helmsman died, only the cook and the helmsman are alive. So what happens to them? And he does not have a dagger on him originally. But neither does the cook. But he could have taken one from the gunner, because he's lost his cleaver killing the gunner. And the gunner starts with a cutlass and a kukri and a dagger. And here we can't see the callus and the kukri on him. I mean, obviously the dagger is very small, could have fallen through, but it's possible the cook took the dagger and then dispatched with the helmsman. But yeah, there's what's happened to the cook? Okay, so if we say the cook killed the helmsman with a dagger, then what happened to the cook? Like, it feels like he's the only one left. And so whatever happens to him would be something like the mask fell on him, right? That's the thing. Like, we can see what happens to him here, because here he's just hiding, and then he's out on this deck, dead. We can't even inspect him, we can just inspect the fact that there's a grate next to him. Like, he's missing an arm, the arm is at the bottom here. There is this gem that it almost feels like it's fallen through as well, because it's obviously not originally here, so where did it come from? The thing, I feel like I could possibly solve the events now and then get back to it, because maybe I will get some better understanding. So in 1797, the last Reaper's first mate was elected ship's new captain, voted in by the... Okay, so we have to actually say who voted for him. Okay, the second mate lost with voters from other people. That night, the second mate and his supporters attacked the first mate's faction, resulting in numerous deaths on both sides. While the fight raged, the bosun and the powder monkey escape with the map. Okay, so we have to just figure out who voted for who as well. Well, we know the helmsman and the rigger were in with the first mate, right? Because they were going to the captain's quarters to help him. The captain was being attacked by the sailmaker and the carpenter. The master at arms was stabbed by the rigger, which means the master at arms is on the second mate's side. That means the people on the boat, the bosun and the navigator. The navigator was saying we're on the same side, so they must go for the first mate because that's where there is room for it. The powder monkey gets no vote. So then we have the gunner and the cook, because they're kind of separated from everyone else in terms of who happens. All we know that potentially the cook kills the helmsman, and therefore cook would have been for the second mate. So the cook is with the second mate and the gunner is with the first mate? No? Okay, well, two or fewer incorrect, it means two people are swapped, which could be the gunner and the cook are the other way around. Because obviously I get the cook has stabbed the helmsman from my assumption in the other board where I actually have a lot of things incorrect, so that might be what I'm wrong about. Okay, yes, that makes it correct. So like a lot of stuff here is super wrong. Okay, so that's done. Yes, now, because something happened here, right? Like one of the people is missing, been taken by a sea monster or something like that. So who is missing? Because we have Antoine, that's the guy at the top right, was he's the sponsored. This is Myrtle's song, right? Because this is the woman with the book. We know her. This is the other two people from the other scenario, so they're also fine. Jasper Wiles and Eliza Swan. So we have Ivan Cairns and Radigan Olita left. Radigan Olita was the sailor, and I guess this from the little cutscene we get, this is Ivan, and then she's also saying what's going on down there in Ivan, right? So Ivan is still here, and therefore Radigan gets taken by the sea monster. Yes, Radigan Olita went below the deck having spotted a shiny gem, a gem through a grate. Grating. Yes, but someone, there's blood on the cannonball, the ladder's toppled, there's like the net hanging here. Because the net is tied to the ladder, so did someone pull the net, it hit him, he hit his head, and then they get dragged into the sea. So here at the end, I think it's before being pulled into the sea. So it could be, but someone toppled ladder, gets hit with the ladder, falls down, hits his head, yeah, he's bleeding, and then someone drags him into the sea to get rid of the body. Or maybe it's not someone toppled, it's someone pulled a net, which then toppled a ladder, so that Radigan fell and hit a cannonball before being pulled into the sea. Several hours after losing the vote, William Nanda's supporters launched a coordinated attack on Alistair Sim's faction. On the deck, Nanda and the Master-at-Arms ambushed the helmsman, thinking they had him outnumbered. However, they didn't realize the rigger was above them, making it a fair fight, which they lost. Eventually, everyone killed one another, apart from the bosun and his son, who escaped with the map. More than a century later, the expedition team found the shipwreck. Radigan Olita was lured into a trap and dragged into the sea. Okay, I have sort of forgotten that filling in the events will finish the scenario even with other things not being finished, even though that has happened to me before, but it's fine. I am back to do the skeletons. Let's not worry about it. I have taken out from here what I think was now wrong after having a little sit and think about it, because those ones that I've left in, I was fairly sure what has happened here, right? Like, this one is, I think, the one of the most obvious ones, and then the rest of them made sense looking at them and as I explained them when I was doing them. The Master-at-Arms, I have sort of assumed like this guy rigger came down and stabbed him with the knife he's holding, but the detail I've forgotten was that there is a bullet lodged in the mast, and that would align with him being instead shot in the back. And therefore he was still killed by the rigger, but the weapon for it was the pistol. Now, the helmsman and the cook are still a bit mysterious to me, because the cook, he ends up here. His arm is missing, and I was like, did that happen, you know, as he was decomposing? Because the arm is down here through the grate, so it could have fallen down, all that sort of stuff. But then we can't inspect the skeleton, so it's really hard to see what injuries they have on some of them. Like, obviously, some of them, the injuries are obvious, right? The skull is split in half or whatever, stuff like that. On him, well, again, arm could have fallen off just because he was decomposing. His leg is also looking a bit funky here, like, is it missing, or, you know, what happened to it? But there's nothing like obvious like with other people where there's something sticking out of them or anything like that. So this one, tricky. Like, the only thing maybe is that if we really zoom in and squint, it seems like the arm has been cut off above the elbow, right? Because if we think about the body falling apart as decomposing, the most likely way it's going to fall apart is the joint, right? Because as the joint falls apart, like all of the connective tissue, that part would come off. You wouldn't really see mid-bone, like the bone breaking in half as that happens. So if we assume that it's actually been cut off above the elbow and not fallen off at the elbow, it means someone actually cut his arm off. Now, there's also a question of where does this happen? Like, again, the same way as the bone wouldn't just break in half as the body's lying there decomposing, it's also would be probably quite hard to like just like chop someone as they're standing, like get a cutlass sword or an axe and hit someone in the arm as they're standing up and go through the whole arm and the bone clean, right? That sounds like it would cut through the flesh, but probably the bone would only be damaged, but going all the way through you would need some really sharp or a lot of force. Like, it feels like if he was lying down like this with an axe, maybe you could manage it like with a lot of force. Now we know that the helmsman had an axe, right? Because this is where the axe end up, and so he would have to have done this before heading into the room, right? So the order would be the cook kills the gunner, then climbs out and comes upon the helmsman before he kills the second mate and runs in there and does the rest of it, and then comes back out and somehow he like topples the cook down and attacks him with the axe, chops his arm off. That makes sense, maybe, somewhat, except for the fact where the helmsman and the cook are on the same side, right? So in theory, he would have no reason to attack the cook unless we assume what the bosun says here, that is everyone for himself now. applies to the whole ship, but it seems on the ship at least, everyone was still following the sides they were on. It's only the boss and like, no, I'm just getting out of here, so I don't care about whatever voting we did before. Get off. You know, I am in it myself. So I think beyond that we can discard them just doing everyone man for himself, and therefore it makes no sense for the helmsman to kill the cook, right? So someone else must have done it. Now my original assumption was also that the cook killed the helmsman because there's a dagger, and I was like, oh yeah, he took the dagger of the gunner and stabbed the helmsman. But if the helmsman didn't kill the cook because they're on the same side, that means the cook also didn't kill the helmsman because they're on the same side. And so I've had to track down all their daggers, right? So she has a dagger, the rigger has a dagger, the gunner has a dagger, and the master of arms has a dagger. That's the daggers. So yes, my original thing was that after the cook attacked the gunner, he took the dagger from him, and there isn't really a way to confirm whether that happened or not because you cannot see the dagger here. Obviously, it could be in his pocket under his body somewhere. Who knows? Hair dagger, the sailmaker. Hair dagger is also not visible here, right? Her broken cutlass is here because she had the cutlass that was made out of the poor material, and therefore you can tell that she stabbed the rigger. And her gun is here, but again, we cannot see the dagger being here or not. However, because of the axe in her head, we at least know that she was in combat with the helmsman, and they are on the opposing factions, right? So Hair doing that to the helmsman at least can be more explained than it being the dagger, like the cook doing it with the dagger from the gunner, or there's also another dagger on the master of arms that unaccounted for, but again, just might be on the body after he died, no one touched it. Because the rigger's dagger is here in the carpenter. So that might be it. That might be what makes more sense between those options. So basically, she manages to stab him before he gets her with the axe, but then he still stumbles out and goes on the stairs and then dies later, right? Like someone inflicting an injury that's not immediately lethal, therefore that person managing to kill the first person makes sense for being able to eliminate two people and not being left over with a single person at the end just standing on the ship being like, well, everyone's dead except the cook. We still don't know what went on with him. And therefore I think the sailmaker has killed the helmsman with the dagger. And so applying the same logic of like two people could have been fighting, and even though one of them quite obviously killed the other, right, the same way as the helmsman kills the sailmaker, we also get the gunner could have inflicted the injury on the cook, and then the cook manages to kill him and then like makes it up on top of the deck and dies there, therefore making it the arm didn't fall through the grate. The arm was chopped off here, and then the cook hits him and then goes out and dies on the deck. It is the cook's right arm that is chopped off, but we can see here that he's holding the cleaver in his left. So it would still mean that, yes, after losing his right arm, he's able to continue fighting. So I think that's how that goes together. So the cook was killed by the gunner with the cookery, because that's what the gunner has in his hand when he dies. Okay, there we go. I've untangled it in the end. What I also want to talk about is the people's teeth, right? I was like, yes, the new captain, he looks like he has vampire teeth. What is going on with that? But also Hair, she's got like weird side teeth on like in her skeleton, and even here you can sort of see them in her mouth, just sticking out on the sides. And also the rigger, he's got like, I mean, sharpened teeth, that's like at least, you know, something you could say people would like file their teeth down to be sharp, maybe. But yeah, long fangs and side teeth. Were they doing some body modifications on themselves? I'm not sure, but yes, that's all of the parts of this scenario complete. I did not abandon the skeletons. I just need to do a bunch of reviewing and thinking about what was going on there, because yes, that's a lot to do at once, right? Like one setting, or like it's very easy to get an incorrect here and then be like, well, which one of those things is wrong? And yes, from that we get another little update in here. My dearest Walter Keane. Yeah, again, Walter Keane. He is from the original game, right? I assume it's the same thing. It is with deepest gratitude that I put pen to paper, for it was by your noble hand that I was delivered from certain doom during the reign of the Order Party. The time has come to repay my debt in kind, as the custom of Lemuria, a life for a life. I understand that unfortunate events have rendered you a shadow of the man's you won't wear, bowed and wearied by the weight of a cruel fate. Yet take heart, for there exists a remedy. On the 27th day of February, a Lemurian sentinel vessel shall depart from the Azure Haven and make its course to the volcanic isle of Craven Rock. Aboard shall be borne a number of sacred relics, destined for the annual ritual of restraint. Among these artifacts is one of singular power, known as the Wish Bloom. You shall know it by its unmistakable fragrance, both sweet and strong. Should you come into possession of this gift, you will become a new man. Upon my solemn oath as a son of Lemuria, I affirm that all I have written is true. Your unwavering loyalty, Arrogant Patu. Okay, so Arrogant Patu is also a character in the original game. He's the Lemurian that is invited to the weekend gathering where a bunch of stuff happens, right? He ends up partially involved in what happens, but it's other people plotting in there. So Walter Keane is also one of the characters in the original game, and he's quite involved in certain dealings. Now it is 1797 here in the past events, so this all happens after the events of the original game, and therefore Walter Keane is still alive, but he obviously had his years stolen away from here, so that would be why he may be seeking things like this to help him undo what has happened to him in the events of the main game. So interesting tie-ins across the franchise. But I think that's enough for today. That was quite a long one again, and we will get back to it next time. Let me know in the comments what else I've missed or misunderstood, because there's always so many details in this game. And if you enjoy my content, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.